Supermassive Games really made a name for themselves with their 2015 hit Until Dawn. This interactive drama horror game brought in a bunch of young actors who players assume control of and do their best not to get them killed. They have until dawn, get it? To survive before they get rescued from the creepy happenings at the Blackwood Mountain Lodge. This game has since been recognized as one of the top in the genre and has a place in many top 10 PS4 games list. Even spawning a remake already, which I believe is way too soon for, but whatever, and also has future plans for a movie. I believe its success also launched the Dark Pictures anthology games, a series I actually quite enjoy, and if you're really into the genre, is definitely worth a try. But the game we're talking about today was envisioned to be the spiritual successor to Until Dawn. Did it live up to those expectations, or was it just a bloody mess? Let's take a look back at the Quarry. Released in 2022, in this interactive drama horror game, you will eventually play as 9 different teenage counselors who, after some trickery by one of them, are forced to stay one more night at the Hackett's Quarry summer camp. The camp owner, played by WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette, pleads for the teens to stay inside until morning. That'd be cool if this game was just called Until Morning, and then the sequel is Until Afternoon, and then Until Evening, and then Until Twilight, and then Until Night. Yeah, they screwed up on that one. Wait, what? Oh yeah, my bad. So he pleads for them to stay until morning when they can fix the van to leave. Of course, kids being kids don't really listen and instead decide to throw one last bonfire party. They eventually found out why the champ asked them to stay inside, as they run into creepy hunters and eventually werewolves. So now you must do what you have to do to survive the night while uncovering the mysteries of this family and the origins of the werewolves. One of the main things Supermassive Games is very good at in these interactive horror games is bringing together a fun cast, and the Quarry really doesn't disappoint. Containing a cool variety of actors we've seen before, like the Gemstones kid, you got Mr. Pikachu, Modern Family Smarty Pants, the second best Raimi, Mr. My Name is Body Goals, Bishop number 73, the insidious old lady, and of course Sweet Life of Macaulay Culkin is in this. Of course I kid, but sometimes when you see actors in video games, I think there's really no reason to have them in there. They usually don't really provide much. Like, the difference between them and some unknown actor for the particular role is not a big difference. But in The Quarry, I felt the opposite. Each actor provided something new to each character, making them feel individually important in their own way. Even actors I didn't necessarily recognize, I felt did a very good job. Graphically, other than most of the character models having dead eyes and weird mouths sometimes, I thought they looked like the actors and the emotions they were acting out really shine through. Environments and lighting at times in this game were stunning, but others had fog and dust that just provided a weird flicker that can be annoying. As well as a ton of pop-in in certain cutscenes, but I did also play this on the Xbox Series S, so you must take that into account. In a game where actors' performances have to carry the story, they all did a very good job. I don't think I particularly hated any of the kids. Yeah, some of them can be annoying, but they did a good job of making them just likable enough in their own way that you don't just want them to die. Yeah, it contains a lot of teenage drama you would expect in this type of situation, along with some cringy dialogue.
Pop, pop, peanut butter, butter pops. Pop, pop, pop them in your mouth. Pop!
But every once in a while, one of the 17,000 sex shows could hit and get you giggling if you're not paying attention.
Advice, huh?
Oh, whoa. Okay, I got this. Okay, so if you go to settings, there's an option called incognito mode. And if you press that, no.
But even with the pretty basic dialogue, you still get enough insight from each character to make decisions. Unlike Telltale, where you get to pick out of 4 choices, here you get to only pick out of 2. And I feel like these choices and the intent behind them are a bit more clear than in the Telltale games. 1, there's really no timer, so you can take as long as you want to figure out what the hell you want to do. And B, it says which emotion the character will use to express that choice. In these type of games, I really struggle with being a super goody two-shoes with everybody, especially in games where choices have to be made, so I did try my best in making the decisions for each character how I believe that character would act based on what the game is showing me, which can easily lead to their deaths if you're not particularly careful. The ways you can play this game that only gives you 2 choices at a time and the amount of freedom you actually have is pretty wild, and I found that very commendable. The decisions you make in every phase of the game influence the outcome of the story. There are 6 different elements to the game. You got QuickTime Events, Combat, Don't Breathe, Evidence, Interrupts, and Paths Chosen. QuickTime Events are very super easy and very forgiving. You have a ton of time to react, unlike other games I've played recently for the channel. There's just so much time to react. They're super easy, and I feel like the only way to miss them is to either miss them on purpose or being so invested in the story you completely let go of the controller and forget about it, because I didn't miss a single one. But because I didn't miss any of them doesn't mean that I had a better outcome. There are just so many variables that impact a story. Then you have combat. There isn't much of it. You really wouldn't expect it in a game like this because it's not like you're walking around killing werewolves. It's more of a type of decision to make. It has very simple and smooth controls. You just simply aim and shoot. It works well enough for this type of game, but the decision to shoot or not to shoot comes into play a few times, and it's obviously a very important choice to make. Then you have Dum Breath. These are intense moments when the character is hiding and must hold their breaths to not get caught. You just hold down the button until the red around the screen goes away. It felt like a forced way to include tension to me. Because it's not particularly fun, you just hold down the button. Maybe a more difficult interactive minigame that ups the stakes would have been better. A little bit of difficulty knowing that if you screw up, that character could die. Because this of just holding down the button felt kind of pointless, because again, unless you really want to, it feels really hard to mess this up. Evidence is one of the collectibles you can find while kinda exploring the slow-ass walking sections of the game, along with freak show ads, clues, and tarot cards that belong to this creepy-ass old lady that tries to help you in between chapters. Supermassive game does a really good job in implementing these side characters, kinda host characters. I really enjoy their vision with these type of characters. I found them very interesting. So if you do find tarot cards, she can show you a possible outcome for the next chapter. It's really barely anything helpful. You can't even call it a spoiler, because even if with them showing you what could happen, you still have to make the necessary choices to get that particular outcome. But I did like how this lady would actually play a part in the story and not just be some random host, similar to the Dark Pictures anthology guy, even though I think he's pretty cool. But yeah, the walking felt super slow and the sprint was barely noticeable. It's very self-contained and linear exploration. There are literal other paths you can take, and say in the woods or something, that you can come across and find any of these collectibles. But I really do wish that they just walked a lot faster. The sprint doesn't really do much. I did like the cool, fun, fixed camera angles that they would implement at some times, especially when you find the tarot cards. Then we have the interrupts. These are moments where you can choose to butt in or not, affecting the story. It can be done in conversations or with actions. And finally, we have the paths chosen. These are some of the more major decisions that will impact the story the most. So the combination of all these elements done throughout the 10 chapter long game dictate which one of the 186 possible endings you will get. There are a few main endings and secret endings, and the rest have just minor changes. There aren't 186 super unique endings, because every little thing matters depending on the dialogue choices made, missing on certain QTEs, and there are just so many variables that the combination of all this can alter characters in different ways. I feel like this is one of the main reasons why this was a huge game to stream when it came out, because not only does every decision matter, there's really no wrong or right choice either. So you could be seeing totally different outcomes by watching 2 different streams. I feel like the story is better than your average Netflix show of this kind, plus you get to play a little, so that's always fun. It really does feel like an 80s horror slasher film that was heavily inspired by Friday the 13th and The Thing, but in today's setting, a more modernized take to it. The music they chose is modern as well, and when they chose to insert certain songs makes sense to set the different types of moods. I didn't find it necessarily to be super scary. I think it's more gory than anything else. I feel like the setting of the quarry itself is designed beautifully and offers scenarios to be creeped out, and it just really looks like a real place. I didn't necessarily find it scary. I wasn't holding my ass in every twist and turn, but I was still intrigued into figuring out what was happening in the story. I love that there's a ton of Easter eggs and references to shows and movies, my favorite being the groovy chainsaw in reference to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead series. But the game really grips you with the creature appearing and providing mystery and questions that need to be answered very early on. But then I also feel like for The first 2 whole chapters, the game slows down. Here's where you're just walking and talking to everyone, messing with the car, fetching booze, being attacked by Poombas. You spent the early aughts of the game setting up things between the characters, getting to know a bit from each playable character, and it's not until chapter 3 that things really start to pick up. This is not particularly a bad thing. I feel like you really need this, in my opinion, to know what direction you want to make going forward and affecting the relationships between characters and making decisions based on what the game is giving you. But I did also feel like these first 2 chapters are a bit slow. Luckily, every time it starts to feel super slow, something else gets added to the mix, which picks it right back up. Unfortunately, I believe I caught on to the story pretty quick and figured out what was going on. And since it's like the big reveal of the game, I spent a long time knowing characters' intentions. Like, I could see through the misdirections and misleadings from the game's part. It seemed very obvious to me, so it was a little bit frustrating to see the actions the teenagers had to make while still having the truth really figured out. But even with me knowing where one of the paths could go, I still wasn't able to do what I wanted. I made one choice specifically that actually led me to a different path. That's how easily your outcome can change. By the end, it's an intriguing story, and once you beat it, you unlock reverse death rewind, and it's basically 3 lives you get when a player dies. You can just rewind it and undo their deaths and pick it up again. You also unlock different paths, movie mode, where you can just straight up watch different versions of things unfolding. Plus, there are a ton of accessibility options to accommodate for any type of player, along with couch co-op and multiplayer modes. And it feels like a lot of thought was put in that, and I appreciate it. Even though I didn't really use any of it because, hashtag solo player. I really enjoyed the depiction of their werewolves. I really enjoyed how it plays part in the story. I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked how they turned into werewolf. That was cool. They basically explode in and out of being a werewolf. I thought that was different. But again, I didn't find the game to be super scary. Yes, it does have moments where tensions are high, especially in the later chapters. But the deaths, for me, just came out of nowhere. When I was least expecting it. I wasn't necessarily scared, I was surprised, I would say, and again, the deaths seemed to be very gory, but I certainly had fun. I was invested in seeing where the story would go. Fun storytelling and great performances keep you engaged while playing the Quarry. With no true good or bad endings and so many different outcomes, I think this, along with it being a financial success of course, is the reason why the Quarry is viewed as a win for Supermassive Games. It has players patiently waiting to see what will be their next big interactive horror drama game. No diss to the Dark Pictures anthology games, those are really cool, but those feel like their own thing to me somehow. Yes, it's basically the same genre, and yes, they're also fun in their own right, but I feel like they're in a different league than Until Dawn and the Quarry. But let me know what you think. What theme would you like to see Supermassive Games tackle next? Let me know down in the comments along with any Quarry thoughts you have. Endings you saw, decisions you made, regrets, anything at all, let me know down in the comments because I'm super nosy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe because you made it this far. And remember to always and forever, you do you.
No, don't shoot, don't shoot! I'm here to save you. Holy shit.